All right. So CS for Indiana is super excited to have Anisha and Annika, who are co-founders of Likeable STEM, here to talk with us today. And then after their presentation, we will hear from Eva Bradshaw, who is the Regional Affiliate Manager for the NCWIT Aspirations for Computing Award in Indiana. So I will have Anisha and Annika go ahead and take it away.
Sure, no problem. So first off, we want to thank Jane, Angela, Ava, CS for Indiana, and the attendees for giving us the opportunity to present here today. We'll get started. So we're going to talk about empowering students with 21st century technology skills in the classroom and outside of it, and really getting students involved in interactive and fun learning, which is the motto of our company, Likeable STEM.
So we're going to briefly go over the agenda for today. We'll start off with a little bit about us and our STEM journey, and then talk about the current learning environment and how we're addressing the gaps in achieving educational goals. We'll go over some of our roadmaps and our methods for implementation, and then conclude with our key takeaways and a Q&A.
All right, I'm just going to share my screen. Oh, it's shared. Can you guys see that, right?
I cannot see it.
All right, I'm going to try to share it again. Oh, there we go. All right. All right, can you see it now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, great. Yep, so she just went over our agenda, and let's get started. Okay, so the motto of our company is visual, interactive, relatable, and fun learning. So we aim to educate, empower, and inspire all age groups, races, income levels, and genders, especially young girls that feel intimidated to learn STEM. Our target audience who we provide our workshops to are teens, tweens, adults, seniors, and we also hold workshops on coding and entrepreneurship for schools, makerspaces, and organizations. And we also offer an online learning platform, and all of our on-site workshops are also free, as well as our online learning platform where we offer blogs and fun educational videos. So Annika can talk a little bit about the blogs.
So our blogs are inspirational blogs. We use kids' interests like movies or TV shows and comics to get them interested in STEM. So our articles relate to the kids, and we have a series like Science Behind the Movies or Technology to the Rescue. You can see some of our articles here. We have things like Neuralink, bioprinting. We also talk about new events like the impact of the moon landing, and other articles like Technology to the Rescue, addressing mental health with virtual reality.
All right, so we also are proud supporters of FAIR, and we donate a portion of our proceeds to them annually, and that is how we give back to our community. So some of our stats are that we've taught 600 plus students on site through after school workshops and other events. We have 14 partnerships around New Jersey, which are made up of local libraries, organizations, and schools. And on our online learning channels, we have 200,000 plus views and 1,000 plus subscribers. So how we got started was in my personal journey through STEM. I started with music composition and apps like Paint and Publisher, making things for school projects. Then I started incorporating my art skills and my music into fun videos for science projects and other STEM projects in middle school. And finally, at age 15, I founded Likeable STEM, and we started going around the state and teaching other people.
As for me, in elementary school, I thought I was going to be an archaeologist or paleontologist. So that interest allowed me to create dioramas, different presentations, and I taught myself PowerPoint to present that information in my class. I soon developed an interest in Lego building, which showed me that I have a love for tinkering and building. Then in middle school, I volunteered during Take Your Child to Work Day to teach Raspberry Pi and 3D modeling with Tinkercad in my school's library to teachers, students, and also kids in the school. And then I wanted to reach a larger audience, so I created my online learning channel called the Bot Nook, which stands for the Builders of Tomorrow Nook. And on the channel, I teach topics like Raspberry Pi, 3D printing, 3D modeling, and Legos. And then I joined my sister in creating Likeable STEM, and we have taught many kids across New Jersey.
So the reason why we started, we promote 21st century life skills, diversity, inclusivity, and of course, college and career skills for employment. So we really want to bridge the gap in communities. So the problem that we were seeing was that a lot of communities had a lack of local access to STEM education, and especially for us with our personal hardships, we were unable to attend programs from a young age, and those were expensive and far away, and that's why we were unable to necessarily learn by other outward programs. So what we did was that we started Likeable STEM to solve that problem and to localize STEM education and computer science so that people don't have to go out of their way to learn a topic that they're really interested in. So we aimed to have our students gain skills for high school, college, and future employability. We promote interdisciplinary learning, so combining their passions and interests with STEM so that they find it fun and interactive, being a role model and especially promoting girls in STEM, and having access for all ages and those with special needs and hardships, which of course with counselors in schools is extremely important to students. So a couple of our certifications, a lot of these are self-learned, of course, because we weren't able to go to these programs, but I'm certified in, a couple of programming languages, data science, Raspberry Pi, and Arduino, which we actually teach to our students, and those are some of the fun topics that are interdisciplinary.
As for me, I have experience in Microsoft Digital Learning, a lot of 3D modeling with Tinkercad and animation with Blender. I also know Inkscape and other coding languages like Python, HTML, and I've worked with Raspberry Pi and Arduino. And I'm currently a cadet in the Civil Air Patrol, and I am part of the Cyber Patriot team.
All right, so some of our success factors that we really look out for is we try to help our students excel in what they do, and subsequently we excel in what we do. We make sure that as they're learning, we're also learning from them, and they're learning from us, of course, in all matters. And our subject matter expertise is gained through self-study and certifications mostly. We also have relatability to our students, which I think is really important in this day and age. Obviously, there's a lot of outdated computer science courses that lead to intimidation for students, like they think it's too hard, or this is like too much. Of course, when a student looks at 50 lines of code that they have no idea what it means, they obviously are intimidated. So that's why we help be relatable to our students and teach in a fun and interactive way where they retain the subject matter and they understand what they're doing. And we have value-added programs for clients and students. So a lot of our students come back to our programs for reruns and other programs because they like what we do, and that's really important to us. So some of our inspirations are, of course, NCWIT. So the Aspirations in Computing program, which we'll talk about a little later, has really helped us. Our parents, of course, local organizations such as libraries, which serve as learning hubs for other students and us, and we're so thankful to be hosting our programs at them. Our futuristic goals are to expand the access to our programs, and we want to partner with more organizations at the local level, such as other libraries and schools and nonprofits. We also want to provide more online programs for people who need access from home. So all of our programs are free educational programs, so we would love to expand that and collaborate with schools to implement bite-sized interactive lesson plans, because attention and retention are two things that students like to do in short amounts of time. So because of that short attention span, it's really good to have bite-sized interactive lessons. And we also want to provide mentorship and be role models for younger generations, and also create an online on-demand AI homework help platform for coding, which I think would benefit a lot of people who don't necessarily have access to teachers and online tutors 24 hours a day and might want help. We're also expanding into cybersecurity, since it's a really new field and a lot of people are really interested in it because it's interdisciplinary. So, yep. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about NCWIT and what it did for us. So it gave us important credentials that were needed, and so I recommend this program to a lot of young women who want to become interested. It also gave us a lot of support and opportunities for outreach. So I was able to connect with people like Angela through NCWIT and really further this business and the connections. So first of all, we form a huge network of mentors and people that can help us. And at the same time, we also form a network of friends and other women who have the same aspirations and the same love of technology that we do, which is really awesome. So yeah, I would definitely recommend the program for anyone. And I have already won a couple of awards through there, and Annika has just applied. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. Yeah, and so our aim is, of course, to empower students with 21st century technology skills. skills. So the current situation yields a couple of problems. For example, here are some of the perceptions, misconceptions, and myths. A lot of students think that, computer science may not relate to their major, but of course, like with emerging technology, we see that's completely false. Technology is in a lot of different majors, from English to history to math, science, obviously. I can hire somebody else to do the job. So we're trying to teach the valuable skills that might be needed in the future, which can really benefit people. Computer science is only coding. So obviously we get this a lot, and that's why it's really important to give them other projects other than coding, because someone who may not like coding may say, oh, I'm not that interested in computer science because I'm bad at programming. But there's so many different things to do, like with Raspberry Pis and Arduinos are the electrical hardware side of computer science. So we definitely need to teach both hardware and software. It's not for girls. So that's the main thing. A lot of the times when guys get in the competition realm with girls think, I can't do it, they're better than me, but we foster a collaborative environment, and I think that's what we need to do, collaboration over competition. Only nerds end up coding, so that's something that's pretty common. A lot of people think that coding is for people who are super intelligent or super smart or geniuses, which completely isn't true. So we have to kind of start at the basics with students and not confuse them with a bunch of code that they know nothing about. Computing will be sitting behind a desk with no social life. So we get that a lot too. And I think it's because we portray computer science as mainly coding to our students, and we have to make sure that we're teaching them, like in schools and other learning hubs, that computer science is so broad and it can be combined with basically any subject you can possibly think of because it's interdisciplinary. And the steep learning curve can obviously be solved by having this local access to STEM. So this is where the lack of access comes in. So a lot of the times there's no local resources. A lot of libraries may have these coding programs and other ones may not. Schools also, a lot of schools do not have computer science curriculums, and the majority of them actually do not have computer science curriculums. So that's something we're definitely aiming to solve. Expensive equipment and software may be required. So we try to teach in a way where we provide the equipment for all of our students, and we make sure that we get the funding or the money to do so. And at the same time, we also teach things that, students can implement by themselves at home, such as paper circuits or other things that are, less expensive and less time consuming. Personal hardships. So a lot of the times people are unable to go to programs like we were because of personal hardships, whatever they may be facing. They might have a disability, they might not have access to certain programs, they might need financial help. So that's where the localization really matters for people. And again, not affordable. That's definitely one of the reasons why. Too much time involvement. So we can kind of solve that by making our bite-sized lesson plans, which I think we really need because students of today have really short attention spans. So it would help a lot in that sense. So now we're going to talk about the lack of motivation and support, which needs to be solved. So a lot of people ask questions such as, I am interested, but what do I do? And they don't know an avenue to go. So that's why localized resources would really help in that case. Where and how to start is super important. So we do have some roadmaps that we're going to be showing, later on in the presentation that give teachers and counselors that ability to know where they can kind of start incorporating technology into the classroom, how to move on to the next level. So there's obviously, the beginner, intermediate, and advanced. How do I move on? What courses do I have to take? And are they accessible to me? Do I have help during the learning process? So that's what our online learning platform provides, and that's why many teachers and counselors are necessary and needed in this process so that they can help the students out. How do I apply the skills I learned? So once you learn computer science, you want to apply them. Maybe you want to make an app. Maybe you want to encrypt something for cybersecurity, but you don't know where to go. So that's where our lesson plans really make an impact. And finally, what are futuristic job opportunities? So are there summer jobs, after school opportunities, or even entrepreneurship? So for us, those opportunities were, founding our business, which is really important to us. So we have to make sure we tell kids that there is such a broad perception of what computer science is and what you can do with it, and there's many, many ways to get involved. So here's some of the things that can be done. So here are the suggested roadmaps. I'm going to just show you this in zoomed in. So the first one is roadmap to success in school, college, and beyond. So this is some of the stuff that can be taught based on grade level. So in upper elementary school, some of the stuff I really found useful, we're learning about Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, so formatting and saving presentations and documents. That helped me a lot in the long run. Drag and drop visual coding. So a lot of people might use programs such as Scratch. Blockly is also another one that you can use. Video production, which is, making, editing, and using a green screen, and digital comic creation, which of course is really fun for the students.
For middle school, we can teach things like a PDF and Microsoft Publisher, teach them how to convert files to the PDF format, and teach them how to design pamphlets or flyers in Publisher. Microsoft Excel, we can create spreadsheets in it and learn how to format data and create databases. As for email and file organization, we can teach students proper email etiquette, inbox functions, and sorting and finding files. For computer graphics projects, we can teach them to use different video making softwares and website design with softwares like Wix and WordPress. And with hardware and software, we can teach introduction to text-based coding, 3D printing with softwares like Tinkercad, and introduction to electronics, and networking with HDMI, printers, and more.
In high school, something that's really important is, of course, advanced coding and design. So this is where you can teach them to program and do other things like that. Applications, so where you can apply it for your career and beyond. So animation softwares, mobile app creation, making your own creative projects, data science. There's just so many things you can combine with it. And finally, for the college readiness curriculum, computer science helps a ton with college applications especially, so creating a resume, making a college list, and of course, one thing that I think is really important is digital literacy and making a positive digital footprint, since colleges do look at that. Career possibilities, we should teach them about career prospects and technology that they can have, different career angles that you can look at it, or different interdisciplinary requirements and learning projects that you can take on in the future. Computer science can also be combined with a lot of things like art, sports, music, dance, business science. There's so much. Virtual reality and artificial intelligence are two really hot fields right now, and 2D and 3D animation and modeling for the more artsy people. So that's some of the stuff that can be provided for elementary, middle, and high school. And then we have interdisciplinary learning in the classroom. So these are some ways that we also like to utilize interdisciplinary learning in our programs around local access and learning hubs, and also how it can be implemented into the classroom to really help students. So for math, a lot of things that we did with math were Python projects. So you can code a calculator, you can make math games, you can draw graphics, which are really, really fun. Teaches you about loops, repetition, algorithms, and stuff like that. Data science, of course, is also a really booming field right now. So working with data, formulas, you can start at the basics, like performing calculations with Excel. Again, many of these things, starting at the basics is perfect. You don't have to overdo anything, and you don't have to go too complicated into something. So yeah.
As for science, topics like physics, we can teach with learning circuits, electricity, and breadboards to create electronic projects, which we will show a couple of examples of later on in the presentation. We can teach how to use the Arduino and Raspberry Pi for various physics simulations. For computer science, we can use physics equations to make a Slinky object in Java, or creating some other simulations using C++, Python, and Java graphics.
So for history and English, the humanities, a lot of presentations are used by making brochures, creating charts and timelines. One of the projects that we were able to do was use paper circuits to wire LEDs into our poster and make the whole poster light up, which was really awesome. App development also, so creating apps to memorize lines of a book in place. So you can elaborate on that.
Right. So with some of my knowledge in app development, I created an app that I called Ace My Lines to help me memorize the lines of my script. So with the app, you can take a picture of your script and it uploads that text into the app. You can enter what character you are, and it will read out all the lines of the other people and stop when it gets to your line, so you can practice hearing and reciting back your lines.
So creating quiz apps, like you explained, to quiz on different concepts, that's really great also. So for music and art, digital art creations are of course something that uses computers. So character designs, comics, 2D and 3D animation, also music technology. So that's kind of how I got started in my STEM journey, using digital audio systems to create music, also using Arduino and Raspberry Pi to create instruments, which is really fun, and using code to create music. For sports, there's also fitness apps and trackers. So that goes hand in hand with wearable technology. You can make apps to track your fitness levels or discover the technology behind wearable devices. So in all of these aspects, if a student has a particular interest in any one of these subjects, incorporating technology is really easy. And I think that we should really promote it in the classroom, not as a separate entity, but almost as a parallel with that person's interest so that they can integrate the both of them. So yeah, so now we're going to show you the coding projects with graphics that we've made, which prove some of our interdisciplinary learning. So this one right here is an American flag we made using Python graphics, which definitely incorporates a little bit of math and art into it. We also made a Harry Potter sorting hat game, which is over here, and we were able to create it on something called the Raspberry Pi, which has a bunch of LEDs attached to it on a hat on the board. So that's definitely also pretty artsy, and it goes with game development and stuff like that. This is a short video that I'm going to show about how our LED Raspberry Pi works. So this is something called the AstroPi, and it's going to say welcome to Likeable STEM, and it's all in LEDs, and it's such an awesome tool to use, and it's just an add-on to the Raspberry Pi, so it really does not cost much, and it's definitely something that's super fun for the kids to, you know, experiment with and play with. So now we're going to show you our dancing robot. So this is definitely a crowd favorite. So coding projects like these we presented at schools actually, and the students who were previously really disinterested in computer science loved it. So I'm just going to play this video.
That is so cute. So yeah, that is our dancing robot, and it's pretty funny. So yeah, this is one of the ways that you can really combine your love for, you know, dance, music, and robotics and technology. So did you want to explain a little bit about how it was built?
So it's a great project to teach because for us, the outside of the robot, the body itself, was all 3D printed and 3D designed. The inside is coded on an Arduino. And then we learn how to wire together the Arduino to the robot, learn how to wire together a battery pack in order to power on the robot, and learn where the different motors go and how they work in order to make the robot move and perform different dances.
Relatively, this project is super simple. So our aim is to take, you know, concepts that are easy and learnable and fun, and, you know, transform them into projects like these. So this again is something that students will not get intimidated by, even though it looks like it's, you know, really nice. And yeah, they will be able to do it with a lot of ease because it's simple and relatable. All right, so now I'm going to show some coding projects with physics. So this is one of them. This is actually a rock, paper, scissors game. Again, not complicated at all. It's just 3 motors and a motion sensor connected to an Arduino. And it's super simple to do. This is also an Arduino piano. So that's some of the stuff that can be done with an Arduino. It's super simple and it's also super fun to do. And again, it uses physics, music, and it utilizes a lot of interdisciplinary concepts. So yeah, super easy. This one is actually, I believe, a car sensor, right? And it beeps just like the car would when it goes near an object. So yeah, that's also another thing that they can do. And again, it all translates into real life. Like you can obviously know if your car is about to touch something or you're reversing, it makes these noises. So it's definitely pretty cool to see the parallels between that. And then this is a regular buzzer. So all of these are projects that are incorporating physics and different elements into it, and of course are relatable to people who make them, and they're relatively easy. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the social studies and language arts projects.
So this piece of code is a quiz that I created in Python. It's very simple to create, and it basically quizzes you on which Greek god or goddess you are most like.
So we'll just run through the code pretty quickly. So here we go. So you can just
Okay, so it starts with welcome, young demigod. If you're wondering which Greek god or goddess you're most like, you've come to the right place. We'll ask you a series of questions. Answer each question honestly. To choose an answer choice, type in the number of the choice and press enter. So do any of you want to participate?
I will.
Great. Okay, so you can read the answer choices and tell me which number you would like to choose, and we'll type it in for you.
So you can ask the question.
Right. So which word describes you the most? Leader, fun-loving, carefree, intelligent, artistic, lone wolf, builder, traveler, fighter, or nature lover?
I'd say 1.
Great. Question 2. What is your spirit animal?
An owl.
4.
What do you like to do in your free time?
9.
9. Oh, nice.
What is your favorite color?
2.
2. Ooh.
If you could choose any power, what would it be?
9, for sure.
Teleporting.
In a game of capture the flag, what's your strategy?
Ooh.
Yeah, you gotta think carefully for this one.
I'd probably do number 2.
Number 2, accurate. Wow, nice.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your temper?
Probably 4.
All right.
What was or is your clique in high school?
Oh gosh. None of these. Probably 1. I was a nerd. I love school.
Don't worry.
All right, so here are the Greek gods or the goddesses that represent you. You are most like Athena. So she is the goddess of wisdom and war strategy and a daughter of Zeus. She's the very leader and brainy one.
Nice.
That's so cool.
But yeah, so that's something fun and interactive that, is another thing that people can create. So interactive quizzes like these are pretty fun to take and make. So yeah, computing skills for college readiness. So again, this is something that's really important to me since I am in the application process right now. So this table on the left is basically making a college list. So you can enter your name, your scores, your GPA, some of the colleges like based on reach, target, and safety. So this is super important because when organizing your list, you want to account for a lot of things such as the acceptance rate, the location, the class size, and other factors. So yeah, it's really important to learn how to make these things, especially in spreadsheets. And this is also a resume. So a lot of people may not know there's so many hidden features in technology, especially Microsoft Word. So they have a bunch of resume templates that you can use. This is one of them. So I literally just click the template and it gives me all of this advice to write in each of the columns as well as the column titles. And yeah, it looks super professional and great. So we should definitely be teaching these students these tools because the whole aim of completing, secondary education and, elementary through high school is to go to college and is to have success in their career. So this is super important. So here are some of the implementations and suggestions that we have. So for classrooms and after-school programs, open source and free software is really useful to teach. Bite-sized lessons are also great. Projects across subject areas. So don't just limit technology to itself, integrate it across disciplines. Allow students to present and teach by themselves. They gain a lot of skills. Reward brownie points towards class credit, so students always love that, and they like when they're getting involved. And involve tech-savvy seniors and peers to provide learning. Volunteer hour certificates are great as well. And hold tech fairs along with dances or school sports and events to showcase or fundraise. Other ideas are to invite, local senators and representatives, because that motivates a lot of students. And also give out STEM badges, because we have to tell students that, they're important and the work that they're doing is phenomenal. So here's some of the partnerships and alliances we're aiming to have. So for NCWIT, we have partnered with them with some of these webinars. And we also want to recruit mentors and alumni with incentives for our students. And bring in non-competitive programs. So again, collaboration over competition, because competition usually drives a lot of young girls away, especially because they may be, kind of scared of their competition. So let's foster a really collaborative environment. And involve more female teachers, role models, and volunteers, because when you see someone who looks like yourself in the field, who is teaching you and you're learning from them, you feel more inclined to go into that field. And that's just the fact of the matter. So yeah, that's a wrap. And then thank you for attending. And, of course, the Q&A, but yeah, we'll limit that. And yeah, we'll just pass it on to Ava.
Wow. Can I just say, wow. Thank you so much for your presentation and for your wisdom.
Thank you.
I'm thinking we're talking to Indiana teachers who want to incorporate CS into their classrooms, and here you are doing a professional development opportunity for them. So they should hire you to do professional development for teachers to help them to understand what they can do in the classroom, so that their students can learn this. And you're still in the classrooms. Still,
we're not out yet.
I was gonna ask, how old are you guys now?
Yeah, so
I'm a freshman. I'm 14 years old.
yeah, and I'm a senior. I'm 17, so I'm getting booted out next year. But yeah,
That's so impressive.
Thank you so much.
So both under 18.
Yeah, we're mine.
High school, and have just a sense for what's needed inside the classroom, one from your personal experience or lack of access to the experiences, but sharing that, building your own company, and wanting to spread that across the country is amazing.
Thank you.
Again, I'm just blown away by what you've already done. And want to use this opportunity to talk a little bit about how others can be involved and become part of the community that we have through NCWIT and the Aspirations in Computing Award. So it's for 9th through 12th graders. So both of you, again, can apply this year, as well as any high school young woman or non-binary or genderqueer individual can apply. And we're open right now. If you're listening before November 5th, your students can apply. So Indiana students can apply as well as across the country. So this is a national recognition. We like to recognize aspirations. Now, you two are showing actual achievement. You've been doing some wonderful things. Some of our young women are just getting started and really just aspiring to do more. We recognize those passions, and the application process is fairly simple. As you know, you can go online at aspirations.org, create an account, answer some questions about what you've done so far, what you think technology should be able to do to solve problems in the future, and really just talk about your journey and sort of your niche for how you want to use technology. That's the biggest part of the application. There are two other pieces to it. Your parents need to approve that you can apply for this award. So there's a real simple email that goes back and forth between you give us the parent's email, they get an email that says, yes, I approve. And then when you submit, you're also giving us information about an endorser. So the endorser is generally some kind of educator. Quite frankly, given the work that you've been doing, if you've had young women attend some of your workshops and they're in high school, they could apply and you could be the endorser. So it would be possible for you to not only be an applicant, but also to endorse other applicants. So endorsers can be high school teachers. It doesn't have to be a CS teacher. It could be another teacher who knows something about the work somebody's been able to do. You mentioned having LEDs light up a poster that was related to a different topic altogether. Well, if that teacher had a student who submitted that kind of work, they could totally endorse them for the Aspirations in Computing Award. Also, robotics coaches, if somebody's in first and they have a coach who wants to endorse them, or others who work with them, if they're in a 4-H club, it could be an advisor. Informal educators of all kinds can be endorsers, but we want those students then to submit, give us an endorser's email, and then the endorser fills out just brief information about the student, how they know them, what their thoughts are about their skill level, and then that becomes part of the review process. So nationally, we review all of the applications to find our national winners and national honorable mentions. And then our local Indiana team will be looking at the Indiana applications and selecting local winners, honorable mentions, and rising stars. Rising stars are those who want to be doing a lot but are just getting their feet wet, getting started, maybe don't have as many opportunities for access. So those could be rewarded with the Rising Star designation. And then in the spring, we get together, we have an event, and we celebrate those aspirations. So all of our recipients come to an event where they're recognized. There's usually a presentation, a panel, or a keynote, someone who's a role model who can talk about their journey. We give trophies to our winners, and we give trophies to the schools that are represented because we want those schools to recognize this as an achievement as well. And we give out lots of goodies and swag as well. So that's the Aspirations in Computing Award. Again, through November 5th, 2019, your students can apply at aspirations.org, and you can endorse those students if you're an educator in Indiana or anywhere across the country. And we look forward to those applications and really want to encourage you to encourage all of your young women who are in your classes to apply. Don't pick just one that you think is the top, but encourage all of them, because we do want to build this community and allow them to grow their skills, apply year after year, and build on their achievements. So teachers in Indiana, please encourage your students to apply for the Aspirations in Computing Award. And I'm going to turn it back over to Jane to see how she would like to wrap up.
Yeah, that was awesome, Eva. Thank you so much. I do have a couple questions for Anisha and Annika. Just because this is for like teachers, I just want to ask, so did you say that these programs are online to learn as well as like in person?
So that's actually our next phase, the online, yeah. So right now, all of our stuff is on-site, and it's free on-site workshops at, and for local access, of course, at libraries and schools, and with nonprofits. But yeah, we're definitely thinking of expanding to online learning sometime, either at the end of this year or next year. So we definitely hope to have courses out there. And then another area that we're also definitely considering even more so is curriculum development for schools, and other people who are holding programs, maybe after school programs or in the classroom, since a lot of the curriculum that we've been doing and presenting in schools around New Jersey has really been working. So we're definitely thinking of doing that.
So that curriculum and like lesson plans aren't currently online for people to use yet.
Nope, they're not currently online. So yeah, we incorporate them into our workshops, but we're definitely going to be putting those up in the near future.
Perfect. And when that does happen, I'd love to like connect again and be able to share that out with our community, because I think this would be really great for them to be able to incorporate. And
yeah,
I think
definitely.
there's parts of your curriculum that you've come up with that it's like, it feels like it should be like a duh, we should be teaching that, but it's not, because of like the college readiness curriculum, something as simple as, you know, using Microsoft to make a resume. That's not something we really learn. You kind of just thrown into it. So I think that is extremely important, especially for the high school educators. And then, so I don't know if you know, but Indiana, we have computer science standards. So it is supposed to be in all the schools, and all the high schools are supposed to offer. So a lot of educators are really trying to see how can we integrate computer science into these different subject matters. So I think it was really great how you talked about projects even that you guys have created in those subject areas, just to kind of get people thinking. So
yeah, definitely. Really awesome. And going back to your question about the curriculum, we actually forgot to mention, we actually, since our website does have an online learning platform in itself, we have channels such as the Botnook for like engineering and circus and stuff like that. We have Likeable Science, we have Likeable Computing. So those 3 channels are kind of where we have a lot of our lesson plans. So we do have like short little tutorials on how to do stuff. Yeah, but the majority of it, we're definitely going to be putting together in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. But even if that's available for educators to go and look and get ideas, that's awesome. Yeah, so I just want to say thank you to both of you and to Eva as well for presenting. And we look forward to seeing where Likeable STEM goes. I'm so excited for you all.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you for having us here.
All right. Well, have a good rest of your week.
Yep, you too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.